Hello, guerreras and guerreros. This is Laura and
Alex.
And today we have a very exciting episode for all of you all. We are going to be, first of all, congratulating my dear sister Ale for passing her really hard exam on principalship. So she's going to be sharing a lot of her tips of what she did to get ready and prepared to pass that. So first of all, congratulations. So we are excited for this episode. And with that being said,
let's get this show on the road.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing, before we even get into principalship, is just asking you, how did you get into teaching?
So teaching was definitely something I loved when I was a substitute teacher when I did my junior and senior year of college subbing as a part-time job. So I just absolutely loved working with kids. My name used to be Miss Perez, my maiden name. So the kids would call me Miss Perez or Miss Pedo. And I know I would laugh so much and tell my mom, can you believe they're calling me Miss Fart? And because they're all bilingual kiddos, the kiddos that I worked with in the Valley. So I just absolutely fell in love with it. And senior year, I said, you know what, I need to look into it because I know there's an alternative route to going into teaching. My my bachelor's was in business management, so it had nothing to do with education. So I had to look up the school. I went through Texas Teachers. I was a assistant manager for a CVS pharmacy after I graduated. And I said, this does not make me happy. I don't like working with adults. I like working with children. So I switched it up. I think I did like 9 months of school while I was working. And I had to pass all these tests because you have to get certified to be a teacher. And then I had to complete my observation hours. So someone had to come in. I had to actually find a job as a co-teacher first. And within 3 months, they promoted me into a teacher because they just loved the way I worked with the kids. There was 2 other ladies that were candidates as well that had more teaching experience, but I felt so special because they picked me. And I think that it showed how much, I just loved and enjoyed the kiddos and how much they were learning. So that's...
Yeah. I will say, like, when you say that you love working with the kiddos and that you shared those stories with Mom, I do remember that. And I remember, like, you would just start laughing and, like, you looked happy, like, enjoying what you were doing. And I remember, don't cry. I know, because they were, like, the cutest little things. And then you would share stories of, like, when you would try to, like, hold in laughter. Because, if you give them you said if you give them a little laughter, the whole class could explode laughing. So then she would share these little stories. Like, one time, just a quick story, like, it would be when you were writing on the board and the chalk would break. And then you would be like, don't laugh. Because, like, one little boy was trying to hold in his laughter. And then you would, like, look down, like, I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to laugh. And then, like, the whole class would start laughing. And you're like, oh, my God, it was just a funny little moment. Like, it's
we all lost it.
We all lost it.
Yeah,
but it's, like, such little moments. And she's crying because she knows it's true. It's, like, so rewarding to work with these kids. And that's just one little example, like, to kind of show, like, these little you would consider it, like, maybe, like, a little moment, but it's like what makes the job worth it because it's like full of joy and it's kids, like the most innocent thing in the world.
I know. Sometimes I say, I wish I could just like bottle up all of your little giggles and put them in a little jar.
That's so sweet. That is like literally teacher moment. But she did go into business management when we were in college. And I will say that it is relevant. I think it's relevant, like business management and being a teacher. It's like teaching is like, you're managing so many people. And I feel like you could look at it from a business perspective and say, like, there's these like 20 little like eager minds to learn, and you have to figure out from a business perspective what's the most efficient way to do it. So I do think it kind of it correlates, especially now at the point that you're in, deciding to pursue being a principal. So even more so, like, I feel like it ties into the business side. One other thing that I want you to know, too, about my sister and, like, her passion for teaching and her being, like, such an amazing person added, because I really do think you are. And one of the reasons is because I think you're strict. Oh, yes. You are strict and you can, like, it's not an easy thing to control a classroom. I've been there, and and I've shown up to my like when you guys were younger, to like your classes, and it would be like complete chaos. It takes a really a really good person to be able to control a classroom of those kids. Like, I think about Lily, one kid, and imagine like being able to like be strict with them and then help them learn in a fun way. Like, that's really hard.
Absolutely. And that's why I have like such fond respect for teachers. And I know it's one of those professions that is way underpaid for all the things they have to do.
Underappreciated.
Yes, and underappreciated. If people just saw all the hard work that is being put in the classroom and outside of the classroom, when these teachers go home and they're still working on curriculum, they're still working on their kids' fun activities, or even just making manipulatives for their kids or activities, like it's
or
a
little
lot.
gifts, like the things that you guys do for the kids, like when they start school, and then during the school year, like those supplies that they need, and then like, for example, for holidays, like the Christmas vacation and the things that you do. I've seen it through you. I've seen it through my mother-in-law, who's a teacher too. She's a bilingual teacher at an elementary. I've seen it through my husband, who was a teacher, and he would teach health in high school. Like, the different spectrums, the grades, the pressure, like, to have them pass, like, there's so much on you all. And I just wish that we, as a country, did a better job at appreciating you all, paying you all for what you deserve. And I think, honestly, like, God works in mysterious ways, because I feel like the pandemic helped shed light on what teachers go through.
Exactly.
When like parents started like having to work from home and take care of their kids and teach them, like help them learn through like online learning, I think. And not only that, like from a corporate perspective, CEOs too.
Absolutely.
For the first time ever, CEOs were also on the same boat, at home, and then hearing like their kids trying to learn and trying to help them too. So I think the pandemic like really helped highlight like how much teachers go through. But obviously now the awareness is there. Now it's like the action of like what can be done to continue to help, not only awareness, but like what can we do to show teachers that they're valued. But
absolutely.
Wanted to point that out. Sorry, I know you were going through your journey of a teacher, so I'll let you keep going.
Oh, well, then when you said that your mother-in-law was a bilingual teacher, it reminded me that then I wanted to differentiate myself, because I was bilingual back then. I am now. So I said, well, how can I stand out from all the other candidates that are also applying for teaching jobs? So I said, as I'm working, when I finish getting my certification, I want to get certified as a bilingual teacher as well. So that way I have that under my belt. And if the opportunity came, bilingual teachers get paid a little bit more. So I said it'll even help out financially for my family as well. So I did it. And I got a job teaching bilingual classroom in San Antonio, and I absolutely loved it. It was a 4th grade class. So I can't believe these kiddos are already almost going into high school. Like, it just blows my mind. So one day, hopefully, I get to see them. Why am I crying?
I think it's because you missed that piece of teaching.
I get so emotional, but I do miss them, and I can't wait to see them walk down their graduation aisle. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional.
So you never know. They may reach out to you. When I had a banquet, I was asked to name one teacher to join me, and I picked, and Ms. De La Garza, if you're a listener, you were both my sisters and I's. Actually, all of our siblings, pre-K teacher.
Oh, yes.
You remember Ms. De La Garza? Like, I invited her, and she showed up, and she gave me the prettiest, like, Swarovski, like, heart bracelet ever.
Which she probably still has, because
I do
that's
have.
how she rolls.
Yes, I do. Oh, yeah, you guys know I'm a hoarder.
I love her. Yes.
Yeah, she's invited
awesome.
me, but that's the impact that she had. Like, I could have picked any of my teachers, and I picked my pre-K teacher. Like, I remember she made school fun for me, like, from the very beginning. And having her there at my graduation banquet, like, you never know, one of your kiddos.
Yes, and she always took care of us. And this also makes me emotional to think that, I can't even say it, but she used to reach out to our counselor.
Oh,
so they can bring us the frozen turkey.
I'll say it because I know that you're emotional. It's okay. We all are. So as you guys know, we were a low income family and
of six.
And I'll tell you guys, they used to do food drives, and honestly, we were such happy poor kids. Like, we didn't even know we were poor. Like, we really didn't.
No, I really didn't know I was poor.
Know we were poor. We would do these drives, and they would say, like, oh, it's for the poor, it's for the needy. That's what they would say. It's for the needy people. Like, donate what you can, and whatever classroom donates some more money, they'll have a pizza party. So we were poor, and we were like, we want to have a pizza party. So we would tell our mom, like, hey, we need to donate for the needy people. And so my mom would want us to donate, but of course we were needy too.
I know.
Then she would say the only thing we can afford are tomato cans, like tomato soup cans. And so we would say, okay, so we would take all these tomato soup cans, which is all we could afford. And so the reason why my sister brings up Ms. De La Garza is because Ms. De La Garza was the person who would tell our counselor that we should get like the basket of the food that was all gathered by the school. Like, we would be one of those families.
Yes, so
that would get it.
They would go and drop off like a frozen turkey every year, I think till we were like in 6th grade or 5th grade. Yeah. And I thought that was so sweet. And now that I'm a teacher myself, like I strive to be those people that helped those kids.
That you see like who needs the help and you speak up on their
absolutely
behalf.
Advocate for them. And so, it just makes me emotional, but it those are the things that shaped me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, to be who you are and like be giving back. Mm-hmm. I know when I've, food drives or like Thanksgiving, like that's the reason why we do it. 'Cause we know that it really does make an impact. I think some people that are so far removed may say like, that's not needed in this country. Like, there's no people that are starving. There's no people that are hungry. Like, this is the United States. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. But there are people that appreciate it. I remember when Miss Abrego, who I don't know if you remember, that was our counselor who dropped off the turkeys. When I first saw her, I ran down the porch, and it seemed like such a long way. But as an adult now, thinking back, I was actually a really short distance. But I remember going to my mom, and I was like, no, that's for the needy. And then my mom gave me a look like, bless your heart.
Child.
Oh, child.
My gosh.
And that's when I knew we were poor.
Well, and that just goes to show like how happy we were with what we had. We just never realized it. Yeah. And I it's funny because I recently told my husband too, I was like, I had no idea. Like, I would want my mom to donate all this stuff too. And then at the end, they were like, oh, the Perez family gets
it's for you. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
But then at the same time, we were like, oh, but we could really use that. Like, I remember looking at the big turkey and being like, we're going to eat that, and we're going to eat corn, and we're going to eat mashed potatoes, and it's going to be a whole meal, and like being appreciative about it. But at the same time, like realizing like, oh, I guess it is nice to get these things. I guess I am needy. But honestly, like it comes full circle, because now when we can give back, we do.
Yes,
because absolutely. We know the impact that it has on the people and how much it matters. And if we're organizing it, like, we know the meaning behind organizing something, and it's not just for a picture op.
Yes, for me, it changed the lens because I am a teacher. So now I get to see like, oh my goodness, like this kid, I know that his family might need, our community and services for their family, where they get, to take home meals and groceries, especially when we have a long break. And so it's just submitting those names and being more aware that, not every kid obviously has the same home life. Mm-hmm. But which is why now I want to be, a principal one day, but I want to start off as an assistant principal, and which is why I dedicated myself to doing my master's, getting master's in principal and leadership. And so once I got my master's, I had to pass the principalship exams, which is the principal as an instructional leader, the 268. So if you know how hard that is. It's a 5-hour test. You get 74 multiple choice questions, and you also get 4 essay questions, which you have to draft and do all of that within those 5 hours. And then, of course, there's having to read really fast and having to type fast. And so there was a lot of pressure, but over the summer, I promised myself that I would just book a study room while my kids were in summer camp, during the day. So I said, okay, while they're gone, I'm gonna take that time to just book a study room and just study. And I'm pretty sure I have like undiagnosed ADHD. I'm more than sure, because I would try to study at home, guys, and it just was not happening. It was, I would say, oh, okay, now I'm going to, because summers is when I purge, I start cleaning everything that doesn't fit the kids, toys that they don't play with. I just go and drop it off at Goodwill. And so I just could not sit down and study. So then I said, okay, maybe if I take myself out of the environment, I'm like, there's nothing to clean in the library. So I would book a study room for 4 hours, study. That helps so much. So I studied for about a month, and then I took the test, and luckily they give you the results. You have to wait a whole month. Yes, a month later. So then I passed, and I was so happy. And now it's the next one, which is the PASL, but has to do with all the coursework that I already did when I was doing my master's program. So I have all of that already. I just need to submit all those documents, which is like, it makes me feel a little bit more relieved that I'm so close to the finish line. I just have to complete it and get certified. But to be honest, I was really iffy before I decided to take the principalship exam. And I told Laura, I said, especially with all this that's going on, I don't think this is the right move to do. And especially with...
Yeah, and now I was going to ask you about that, and I hope you're comfortable talking about it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Our listeners, I think you may have this in the back of your mind, but it's about the Uvalde school shootings. And Uvalde. But you guys also know that it hasn't just been Uvalde, it's been other school shootings as well. So this topic, is a hard, heavy topic to hit.
Yeah, so skip forward if you don't want to,
dwell on it, because I know it's been
hard.
Everybody's kind of dealing with it in their own terms. And skip ahead if you would rather, not hear about it, because I know it could be difficult, but it is something I wanted to ask you, like, if you're comfortable talking about it. I know you, you're my sister, you tell me things. It was really hard for you. That happened. And then if it's too hard again.
I can talk about it. I'm getting so sad.
I know that you take your role. If you're going to be a principal, you're going to be a hell of a principal. Like, you're going to be so good. I know you take your ownership in your job and what you do very seriously. And I know when that happened, it just kind of, hit you like a wall of bricks. And it's like, if you can talk about, for our listeners that may have also had a very hard time, like, what you did to overcome those feelings, and at the end, ultimately still deciding to continue your route of being a principal.
Yes. So when I found out, I was, we were getting like little snippets, like it was 2, and even that, just 2 was already like, what? Like, it's hard because you put yourself in that situation, and especially it happened so close to where we are, and it was a low-income school, and the kids are exactly the demographic, that my current students are. And so for me, it was really difficult. Just the fact that it was business as usual the next day. Mm-hmm. So we had graduation for kindergarten. We had graduation for 5th grade that was moving on into middle school. Like, we had all these fun events planned for our school. And the next day, it was just like the principal didn't address it. It was like it did not happen. Parents were coming in through all doors for these events. And it was just, it's scary. And that's when I say that teachers are very underappreciated, because almost to me, I put myself as one of those teachers. That could have been me.
Right.
Whew. Or like any of my teacher friends that I know. And the next day, everyone's just moving on. Like, life is just normal. And to me, I think that was the hardest part. And it really affected my mental health. So it's hard already talking about it.
It's okay. But you can take a pause.
Yeah, I had to reach out. I said, I need help. I went through like my my work, because I was getting like really bad anxiety. Like, I was getting really sad. And so I was like, this is not normal for me to feel this way, And so I went through my work's resources and I asked, like, what's available for, this is how I'm feeling. This is really taking a toll on me. And so they said, we have the resource BetterHelp. Because you are an employee, like, it covers sessions. And so I was really excited about that because I said, I think I need professional help. Like, the way I'm feeling and my mental health is not okay. So it really helped. I talked to a professional and she put a lot of things into perspective for me, especially telling me when I told her, I don't even want to pursue principalship. Like, I know that that all that weight is going to fall on me. Like, keeping this, not only the kids, but the teachers safe. And then she told me the best thing ever that I think changed it. She's like, if you were my kid's principal and you're asking yourself all of these hard questions, I would think that you're the best principal for my kids, because I would want my kid's principal to care as much as you care. Yeah. And so she basically saying, like, if you care this much, I think you are perfect for this job. Yeah. And so I think agree. That really opened my eyes and was like, you're right. Like, maybe this is what I should be doing. If I care this much and I want to create a change, like, yes, why not be a boss at yeah. Boss bleep. Bleep bleep. Because I should do it for the kids and for the teachers. So that's what really, like, drove me all summer to just sit down and study and get it done. And then I did it, and I know I went by the quote, and I told Laura this. I was like, it's always impossible until it gets done. Yeah. And so it got done. I finished it, and I was really happy. But I think I'm glad that I talked about that, because if you are struggling with mental health, like, it's okay to reach out. Mm-hmm. Like, there's this stigma, like this negative stigma, like, if you reach out, you're labeled, like, I don't know, crazy or whatever. Yeah. But no, absolutely not. Like, it truly helped me, and I think that it could possibly help you too. Just give it a shot. I mean, I even encourage other people that I know to do it, and they did, because we were struggling. I mean, educators go through a lot, especially when, and that's why I always tell parents that are my friends. I always say, like, it's crazy how much some parents, not all parents, some parents fight with teachers. If a situation like those occurred in your school, like that lady that you're yelling at and you're, like, making, they would take a bullet for your kid. Literally. It's like, like, they're the first people. Yeah. They're the first line of defense. Exactly.
Like, they're there, and they're willing to, like, sacrifice their own lives. Like, think about it. Like, they have a family waiting at home. Like,
I think we need a moment.
Sorry.
This is a hard one, but I think it needed to be addressed.
No, it does. And also, when you talk about mental health and there being a negative stigma, absolutely. Like, I have never shared this before. Just very few of my family members know. But I've also done, and it's because it's like, you're not supposed to talk about it. But I've been to therapy twice. In my early 20s, that I was dealing with a lot of things. And then most recently, like, when I had Lily, and it's just, triggering it depending on, like, what you've been through life. And so I feel like talking about it maybe makes people talk more about it, and you feel like you're not alone.
Exactly.
And I think that's what it is. Nobody's saying that they're getting help, or that they're going through counseling, or that they're going through therapy, or whatever the case is. And so, like, everybody's keeping it hush-hush because you're not supposed to talk about it. But then the more you talk about it, the more you realize it's okay and it's common, and you're not crazy. Like, it's just, I love, my husband says it's because he's a health teacher. It's like, and he was also an athletic trainer, which deals with sports injury. So when somebody gets injured, he's the first person there to treat it. And he would tell me, it's like if you have a broken bone. And it's like, nobody bats an eye when you go to the doctor for a broken bone, because it's like, it's a broken bone. You have to go to the doctor to fix it because they're the ones that know how. But we don't think about that when we think about our mental health. We don't think, like, I'm having these repetitive, like, thoughts, sad thoughts are making me sad and we need help. Like, I'm going to go through a therapist. We don't think about that. We're like, oh, no. I have to be like on the border of like craziness to seek a therapist. Like we don't think about it like preventative. We think about it once you're already like at your wit's end, like, oh, let me seek a therapist. No, you can take preventative care on yourself, make yourself feel better.
And that kind of connects to why I also was struggling so much, is because I do have my own kids that were going to start summer camp at an elementary school. So she really talked me through all those things, like, you know, if you continue to put all those negative things in your head, then they're just in there and they're living there. But what's happening in reality is not so. It's not like, so she really calmed my nerves. And I just feel like I let me tell you really quick about what BetterHelp is. So it's BetterHelp. BetterHelp. We are not sponsored in any way. I just sharing my personal experience. I love that you did not have to drive anywhere. You could just, you know, FaceTime or on your phone, or you could obviously Zoom call through your computer, see them face to face. And then they're all professionals. I think the lady that I got, she has 20 years experience. So doing this, like, and you get to pick like who, it kind of gives you a survey of what characteristics you want of your therapist, and then they kind of try to cater to that. So again, please, let's try to remove that negative stigma of like, oh, you know, about therapy. It should not be that way, because other countries see it as a completely normal thing. Just like she said, just like you go to the gym, you go see a therapist. So, but yes, after that, I decided, okay, I'm going to put the kids in summer camp. I'm going to do the principalship. I finished that. And so now I'm in the second process of getting certified. And I hope that out of this, you took that you should take care of your mental health. You should definitely start a study plan if you're planning to study, just so that way you execute it.
Absolutely. And I don't think you gave yourself enough credit, because I've told other people that are in like the school environment that she went through this test, and they're like, that is such a hard test to take. And I know you alluded to that, but just being direct about it, it's a very difficult test to pass, and she passed it. So we're going to go drinking after this to celebrate you. And really, like, you know, kudos to you, because that was very difficult to do. And then, of course, also, I feel like you're creating that path for others that may have contemplated this and, like, not really said, okay, I'm going to do this for sure. So you've opened up that path for them. And like you said, like, it's only impossible until it's done.
It seems impossible until it gets done.
There you go. It may seem impossible to them, but then you're getting it done, so they're going to know it's possible.
Yes, absolutely. And then I wanted to end on a high note, because Laura is leaving tomorrow to Japan, guys. She's leaving tomorrow. That is so exciting. So tell them what you told me, what you were going to do on the plane when you sat down.
Oh, my butt's going to sit on the plane, and I'm going to, it's actually going to hit me that I'm leaving, and then I'm going to be sad. Is that it?
No, but you said that she was going to, because I said you got to give us all the content
of
going to Japan.
I know what I told you. Okay, sorry. Okay, but that is true, though. I'm trying to, like, not be sad until I sit on the plane. But the other thing that I told her is, like, the first thing I'm going to do when I get in the plane is I'm going to do, like, that TikTok that is, like, prepare to be sick of me. Prepare to be sick of me. You guys know, if you know TikTok, you know what I mean.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. And I'm going to do that. And it basically means, for those that don't know, because don't be left out, it just means that I'm going to be posting a lot more, because I'm going to be in Japan. There's going to be new food, new places I'm going to visit. Ali's going to go visit me in Japan. We're going to go to Tokyo. You're going to see us again, rocking our business suits. So you prepare to be sick of me.
I know. And I was going to say, we have to give a shout out to the people that did our hair and makeup today.
Oh, yes, we do.
It was the Blow Dry Bar. And the guy who did my hair, he's so awesome. You guys have to check him out if you're in the Dallas area. His name was Rafael. And he's at the Blow Dry Bar in Flower Mount. And then our lady who did our makeup.
Yeah, her name was Nelly. And she's amazing. You can just literally go into the Blow Dry Bar.
Yes, Blow Dry Bar.
And then just go and ask for Nelly. She's so awesome and so fun. She's a Latina. We bonded. I told her about her story in our podcast. She has very similar, maybe a lot of you do too, very similar background to us. And she's just so amazing and so funny.
Yes, girl.
So funny.
And because of her, we got so much content because if y'all love like little stations of where to take pictures, go there because they have such huge setup.
Little setups. We'll post a couple of the ones that we took because they were really fun, like shots. And of course we looked like, she called us baddies. She's like, you are a baddie.
But you got to share what she said when she was like, I got to do this now.
Because we shared with her like our podcast and what it's about. And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, you guys are like inspiring me. She's like, I'm going to do my own podcast. She's been thinking about doing her own podcast for a while. And she said, I'm going to do it now. And I told her, let us know what you need. So Nelly, if you're hearing this, and by the way, it's so funny because my middle name is Nelly and now my daughter's middle name is Nelly. So I feel like we bonded too on that level. But anyways, we're here for you. If you need podcast advice, she's like ready to be motivated and do things. She's like, I don't even know exactly what I'm going to do. She's like, but I'm ready.
Yes, the hard part is getting started. Yeah. So as long as you start, you've already done the hard part, girl.
Yeah. You go for it. You get that podcast going. And then for sure, I told her when I'll come back from Japan, I'll be sure to visit her again for hair and makeup because she's awesome.
I love it. And so again, stay tuned for all the Japan content. I am extremely excited and I cannot wait to plan my trip and go visit and see my little Lily Poo. So, all right, guys. Thank you for everything. And remember, somos hermanas.
And together we are Driven Latinas.